There is a need for engagement by the grassroots at a level that we have never seen before, and we've got to advance from simply being listeners and posters and Facebook junkies and Gab and Getter enthusiasts to actually letting our voices be felt in the political process. You got to go to that Fed-surrection.com. You got to be able to get involved with your local elections. And the reason I say that is because we're in a showdown with Goliath right now, and we are David. David's got a slingshot, and the slingshot is the populist movement. We can hit this giant in the forehead. It's the giant of the huge media complex super PACs like CNN and MSNBC working with the Democratic Party. You got to understand something. So many of our people, including your family members, including large parts of the church and the evangelical base, which is 40% of the Republican mojo. That's 40% of the people putting them in office. They are confused because they listen to too many sources, and the media has got them. For instance, let me give you an example. Mercedes Sparks, you're with me today. Thank you for being with us today. The spirit of fear is so on the minds of the masses, including our people.
Oh, sure.
Because the church failed to respond to COVID with a strong, pushback. They all kind of like, oh, we'll shut down and socially distance too, I guess.
What I want to do is I want to agree with you because absolutely. I mean, we saw churches shut down, not just for the 2 weeks, but for months at a time. Because in many ways, the church is like another entertainment zone, right? It's like sporting events got thrown into that category. But yeah, I agree with you. And I think too, in other parts of the country, we live in Texas, the freest state in the freest country in the entire world. And when you look at what these other states are going through, I mean, just inundated with constant fear.
I'm making it clear to protect our democracy, I support changing the Senate rules, whichever way they need to be changed to prevent a minority of senators from blocking action on voting rights. Sending the Democrats to protect democracy is like sending Epstein and CNN to protect your nursery. These guys have to be kept out of power, and they have to be removed by a populist movement. What do you say, Mercedes?
I think 2022 is going to be characterized as the year for the battle for states' rights, because I think more and more we're coming back to the 10th Amendment to say we are actually the United States of America. We're just not America. We're states that agreed to come together and to form a federal government. But what's not outlined in the Constitution needs to be defined by the state.
We look forward to your comments in the chat thread, by the way. So, we want to know if you're tracking with us, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us, if there's other aspects of this you think we need to be looking at. But this sheep and goat thing is new language for many of you, but it's going to come in more and more because it's the odd language 2,000 years ago in an agrarian community of farmers that Jesus was teaching. And if he was alive today teaching, he'd probably be talking about cryptocurrency and government. And he'd be doing news like we do it. He wouldn't be talking about sheep and goats, that's for sure. But they're metaphors. They're symbols of two types of animals. The sheep being that which is led by a shepherd, and a goat being that which rebels symbolically against the shepherd's management. So you have states and federal governments like California and New York are very much like the federal government in that they're the anarchy that wants to rule, which is a weird thing. They are lawless but want to be in charge. Who's lawless but wants to be in charge? Organized crime. And that's the closest thing I can get to the beast. The beast system the Bible describes is a criminal enterprise organized to crush virtuous opposition. Virtue is the sheep. Sheep is the one who is simply trying to do the right thing and is trying to protect their rights to their faith, their family, and to their hard-earned cash that they work for and play lawfully to acquire and pay taxes to be able to invest. And these people are being attacked by the system.
Yeah.
That's what's happening now. And this is called the Great Awakening, people. This is all part of it. You can't just nicely slice and say, well, this is spiritual and this is natural. No, because when you're awakened to righteousness, every part of your life is right. And this is a righteous awakening happening right now. When they say, as you know, Senator, we can't develop sources and methods. Sources and methods. Oh, in other words, under the cover of trying to protect the FBI methodology because they could reveal somebody else, expose someone else who's working in the dangerous terror cells of the nationalists.
Yeah.
They don't have to reveal their sources and methods. They just simply have to say, was this guy part of your source and method? I don't have to know how you did it. I just need to know if he's part of it. Hey, this is Lance. I hope you enjoyed that segment you got. That's not the entire podcast, but I'd like you to hear the entire message. We have a lot of interesting things you didn't get to cover in this segment so far. Go to lancewallnau.com/podcast and watch the entire unedited message.